Field of 68.
After dark.
I'd like to welcome you courtside here at beautiful Liberty Arena in Lynchburg, Virginia, where we just watched Michigan State knock off Arkansas 69-66 in the Breslin Center. It's been a crazy day of college basketball today. Good. We saw a thriller between Alabama and St. John's up there in the real Garden this afternoon, and we'll get to that. Hopefully we're going to be joined by somebody from that Alabama program later on in the show. We also saw Providence lose a great game to Virginia Tech in overtime, where we had another freshman throw his name into the hat of one of the best freshmen in college basketball this season. We'll talk about that in a little bit here as well, but we got to start with the game that we just saw finish. Michigan State 69, Arkansas 66, and late game execution, not exactly the best from Arkansas. Michigan State finds a way to get it done. The headline there, Cam Ward, freshman, again,
the Cam Ward.
The real Cam Ward. 18 points, 10 boards, a pair of steals. Big win for Michigan State.
You said it, execution. And part of it is you're talking about a freshman point guard, a talented one in Darius Acuff, and I don't want to say veteran, because he's not a veteran, but Jeremy Fears has played enough games. He's been in that Michigan State program for a couple of years now. That's the difference. Jeremy Fears taking care of the ball, getting the ball where it needs to go, not making a lot of mistakes. And Acuff in crunch time, back home in Detroit too, not as solid with the ball. Obviously, that last play couldn't have been drawn up for Brazil. There's just no way.
Yeah, there's no way. I want to focus on the Michigan State angle. We'll talk a little bit about Arkansas and some of the things that went wrong late and some of the things that did not go well in the second half of that performance. But I do think it is the way I would phrase this Michigan State program right now and this team is that there are very real questions that we should have and we do have about their perimeter, about their shot making, about the shooting, about the floor spacing. But what they have here is a group of three guys up front in Carson Cooper and Jackson Kohler and in Cam Ward who have been really, really effective and impactful in the first two games. Against Colgate, it was Kohler and Cooper that did the majority of the damage. Today, it was Cam Ward who had 18 and 10. But those guys up front are big enough. They're good enough at scoring in the paint. They're terrific at rolling to the rim. Jeremy Fears is in his bag when he's able to kind of come off a ball screen and throw them lobs. And they have enough with Cohen Carr and his ability to drive and slash and create havoc that they can defend, they can score in the paint, they can play through their big guys, and they're good enough defensively with enough playmaking from Jeremy Fears that they can find a way to be able to get it done. This is the quintessential Tom Izzo basketball team.
They're a good team. Michigan State is a good basketball team with a lot of very good players. Do they have a great player? I don't know. I mean, Cam Ward obviously had a great performance today as a freshman that, again, adds to this freshman class, right? It feels like it gets deeper and deeper every day. We add a name to this freshman class. I just don't know if the upside is there, but if you're Michigan State, okay, what deems a successful season now for 70-year-old Tom Izzo and Michigan State? Is it getting to a Final Four? Would that be, hey, check it off? Or, again, if you're Tom Izzo, you want to win another title before you retire, don't you? Can this team legitimately win another title? This is a good win against an Arkansas team that had enough back, but they also have, two freshmen and a couple of transfers, but two freshmen in particular that are playing huge minutes, a huge role, kind of like the old Calipari freshmen. So, to me, Michigan State, you're at the Breslin Center, you're playing against these young guys, you should win this game.
Yes and no. But the concern that I have with Michigan State is basically what you said. It's the talent level, right?
Can they win it all?
And I don't think that they have enough to be able to win it all. What they're missing is a very similar kind of roster build to last year's, to what they had last season, right? The difference is there is no Jace Richardson. There is no guy that can come in
maybe
and
Cam
be a
Ward
change. But Cam Ward
different position. Obviously.
Cam Ward's like a big. Cam Ward is
6'9" and
He's going to do what he did tonight. Those are going to be his blow up games. Now, if you get 8, no one's going to complain about 18 and 10 off the bench from a freshman big guy. But you don't have someone in a game where it's not working when you throw the ball into those. Here's the example.
You don't have the wing that you could just say give it to and go get me a bucket.
Here's the example that
they don't have that. They don't have that.
What Arkansas did, so when Michigan State kind of pulled away a little bit midway through the second half, they were running ball screen after ball screen after ball screen, and Trevon Brazile was getting confused. And then they were trying to throw the ball into the post, and Brazile was either getting pinned underneath the basket by Kohler or missing while he's trying to dive for steals 17 different times, which is a whole different conversation. But they were attacking Trevon Brazile. And what Arkansas did was they went to their big lineup. They played Nick Pringle and Malik Ewan together, and it shut off what Michigan State was trying to get offensively, and that's why Arkansas was able to take an 8-point lead and come back, and eventually they got it tied, right? Down the stretch, they got it tied. And that's why they were able to get to that point where they had possession with a chance to be able to take the lead. And the reason they were able to do that was because they went to that 2 big lineup and nullified what Michigan State was getting out of the post. There are going to be a lot of teams that have the size to be able to do that to Michigan State. What is their counter? What is their answer when somebody can take away their front court? I don't know if they have it, but what I will say is the performance of Cohen Carr in these first 2 games, the performance of Jeremy Fears tonight, some of the passes that he made, and the fact you got Tom Izzo on the sidelines, like there's something about
it's going to be by committee.
Yes, and there's something about Michigan State that just kind of makes you say, I think they'll figure out a way to be able to win.
Of course.
Yeah.
They're going to win enough games. I mean, they're going to be an NCAA tournament team. They're going to be a top 4 or 5 team in the Big Ten. Are they going to win the Big Ten again? I don't know, but they're going to be top 5 team in the Big Ten. I mean, whatever money you want to bet, I'll bet that today, because I'm not going against Tom Izzo with enough talent and enough experience. That's what he's got. He's got enough guys that know him and his program, and they're going to come out and they're going to play hard and they're going to rebound, and they're not going to shoot well. They're not. I mean, hasn't that been proven over the last two years? What are they this today? 1 for 15 from 3?
Yeah, it feels like that's the kind of thing. Now. You would think at some point Tom Izzo would go out and say, I need to go get a shooter. And to his credit, we're making jokes about their shooting. Trey Ford is a guy that can light it up. He is a shooter first.
But is he going to get in the court enough?
And they also went out and they got Caleb Glenn. And Caleb Glenn tore his patella tendon in July. I think that
one hurt.
Yeah. I think that if we were having this conversation with a healthy Caleb Glenn, it becomes a different
1 for 14
different thing. Because if you have Jeremy Fears, Trey Fort, Cohen Carr, Caleb Glenn, and one of those big guys out there, then I think that gives you a little bit of different lineup versatility. And Caleb Glenn is a guy, we saw him up close and personal at this event, the Field of 68 tip-off when he played for FAU last year.
Here's what I'm going to say on this is Michigan State caught Arkansas at the right time. They caught them at the right time. Arkansas is not going to be this team in January or February. They're going to be really good because Darius Acuff is not going to make those same mistakes. He's not. And they've got so many players. Like, he goes 8 strong. Like, their top 8 is really good, and there's a lot of versatility in there. He can mix and match and figure out different lineups to be able to attack different types of teams. I think Acuff is the key. And I think we just saw a very inexperienced point guard who's still learning how to play with really good players and not have to do it all himself.
So I agree with you. But I think the hard part for Cal is going to be, it's twofold, right? One, it's the Trevon Brazile situation at the 4 it does not look like he's taking a step forward from that
he's inconsistent. He did at the end of last year. If you remember, he was really good the last 10, 12 games last season.
But it didn't stick. Like there were a lot of plays that he made late in this game that were head scratching. Not the least of which
Ewan is the one that I think I was surprised he didn't play more against those bigs. I was really surprised he didn't get more playing time.
I guess Nick Pringle might have beat him out in practice in the fall. But what I will say is this, right? Where Cal is going to really struggle is teaching the decision-making for Darius Acuff and Malik Thomas, because there were a lot of plays down the stretch where what Cal does offensively, and this is what he's done forever, and this is what it's kind of gotten him in a little bit of trouble of late, especially towards the end of his Kentucky tenure, was the sets that he runs are basic to the point that they are designed to be able to get their best player in an isolation and a chance to be able to go win a matchup. And when you had John Wall, when you had Eric Bledsoe, when you had Karl Anthony Towns, when you had guys that were going to be top 5 picks in the draft, and not just 5-star freshmen, the best freshmen.
You don't think Acuff is one of those? You're ready to say that?
No.
In the second game of the season, you're ready to say that Darius Acuff can't be that guy.
Can I finish my point? Or the interrupter strikes again? Darius Acuff went for 16-6 on the road in a difficult environment as a Detroit kid coming back to Michigan and playing at East Lansing, right? I thought that he played well. But there were some decisions he made defensively where he got lost. Jumping at a Jeremy Fears pump fake to put him on the free throw line is not the right choice.
Terrible decision.
I think that there were a couple shots that he took down the stretch that as he learns and grows and in his freshman season, that's where he's going to get better. And in March, he should be better. But that's where the difficulty with Cal is going to be. Are those two going to be good enough by March to be able to run these offense, Malik Thomas and Darius Acuff, to do this stuff where you can trust them? And I'm not just talking about winning a game in the tournament. Like, this is Coach Cal and Arkansas.
Yeah, Final Four. Final Four.
When you're playing against top 10 teams in America, are those guys going to be good enough in March to be able to get the buckets that you need in those situations?
I mean, maybe. You know, I think they're talented enough, and I think they've got enough pieces around them that it's not going to all be on them. You know, I mean, to me, again, you've got some holdovers, which Cal doesn't generally have, which helps early. You know, Cal's teams, a lot of them at Kentucky even, obviously because of their youth and inexperience, they struggled early. I've learned now not to overreact to a Calipari team losing early in the season.
Well, I'm actually,
especially at the Breslin Center.
I'm actually, if what was the game that we played on Thursday night?
Buy,
hold, sell.
Yeah.
If we were playing buy, hold, sell, like Arkansas would be the team that I'm buying right now. Of course, because I think that those two guys are. But I've seen Malik Thomas do enough crazy stuff in AAU and in EYBL that I know that there's a stud there.
Saying,
and the best part about it,
can both go make a play off the bounce. Like they can.
And the best part about it is that Malik doesn't always have to be 1A because you have Acuff there next to him. So I am buying them, but what I will say is that there is a lot of room to get to that point, right? And the struggle is going to be, will they be able to win enough games and do enough before they are at that level against the schedule that they have to be able to have a seed that is good enough where, like last year, they figured it out by the end of the year, but you're a 10 seed. Like, you're only going to be able to be so dangerous as a 10 seed. If they end up as a 4 seed, that becomes Sweet 16, you're playing a number 1 seed. That becomes
But, you know, again, I don't think there's a UConn out there this year. I don't think there's like a team that you're so... We'll see. I mean, obviously it's early right now, but
UConn beat someone 44-3 yesterday. UConn might be UConn.
Well, yeah,
UConn might be UConn. No,
I just feel like, again, and I catch myself all the time trying not to overreact to early. Right, like next week is Champions Classic. Mm-hmm. I'll be there, and the first few years I remember at Champions Classic, I overreacted completely. I think I said one year, Michigan State, after they lost, I think you were there with me, and we were like, they are not good enough. I'm out on them. And then they ended up being a really good team, I think, who won the Big Ten regular season title. So I think this team has enough upside. I think they've got enough retention. I think they've got enough versatile forwards. I think they've got a couple bigs that aren't great. And that's where I'm actually probably more concerned about their front line. Their guards are going to be fine.
I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned at all about their bigs, because I don't think that outside of Brazil, I'm not concerned about them at all, because I don't think that
you don't know yet.
But what are they going to
give you something?
What are they going to ask those two guys to do?
I don't know. Be tough, rebound, finish.
You got two guys where they get 20 minutes from each of them. Use all of your fouls. Rebound the ball. Don't let guys like Jackson Kohler and Carson Cooper like get going, and just be 6'10" and 240 pounds and veterans. Like, just go be big. Yeah. I don't think that they need much more than that from those guys.
Yeah, I think this Arkansas is a team that can make a Final Four. Like, I really wouldn't be surprised at all.
So I agree with you, but here's the devil advocate that I'm going to play, right? we saw, you mentioned the Champions Classic overreactions. Last year at the Champions Classic, the reaction was Cooper Flagg made 2 decisions down the stretch, but they couldn't win.
Most of us, you and I included, did not overreact to that because we had seen Cooper Flagg play 50 times.
we didn't. That was the national talking point, though.
Exactly, because it was the first time everybody had seen it.
And then we got to the Final Four, and some of that same stuff happened in the Final Four game.
Yeah, I mean, it did because they didn't have a point guard to support him. That was the biggest issue with Duke.
Does Arkansas?
Yes. How do they not? I mean, again, they've got enough guys who can handle the ball. I'm not saying they're point guards necessarily. I think Akoff is a point guard. Cooper Flagg isn't a point guard. He is a elite passer from the forward position. Darius Akoff is a point guard who's going to learn how to play with really good players this year. He's going to be just fine. Trust me, he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I'm still buying Arkansas. I had them as a top 12 team in the preseason.
Yeah,
I had them as the number 3 team in the SEC. And with the number of mistakes and issues with ball screen defense that you could identify in the last 10 minutes of that game, they were still a possession away from beating Michigan State. And if you get a better baseline out of bounds, then have a very real chance to tie the game against Michigan State in the Breslin Center.
Veteran team.
In the second game of the college basketball season. So
yes.
I'm not worried about Arkansas at all. They did not cover today, though, which was disappointing for some of us, myself specifically. But that was a lot. That was a lot better. I will just say, me taking Arkansas and losing by the hook is a lot. It's a lot better than being told to bet Indiana by the 2 people here with me and then seeing Indiana completely melt.
As long as you lost money and the Hoosiers won.
You lost a lot more than I
am happy.
I promise.
Also, can we get a definition from you on before we go to break? What is courtside?
We're on the side of the court.
We are not. We are not courtside.
Yes,
we are
we're on the
high
side of the court.
above the court. We're not at Liberty Arena.
We're not behind the court. We're on the side of the court. That's exactly where we are. Listen, when we come back, we're going to talk about Alabama and St. John's. We're going to talk about Nato's performance as a coach, and we're going to talk about what we saw from the Crimson Tide backcourt. That's next. We all know the Players Era Festival has become the best field in all of college basketball. And you have the opportunity to win a VIP trip to the Players Era Festival in Las Vegas, thanks to our partners over at BetMGM. Here's how it works. Opt into the contest and start placing bets on any sport of at least $10 with plus 100 odds or greater. When you do that, you earn leaderboard points based on the bet's odds and the amount that you wager. The more you bet, the higher the odds, the more points that you earn. The top players in that contest are going to win a prize package that includes tickets to the games, withdrawable funds for travel, a 4-night stay at the luxurious Mandalay Bay here in Las Vegas, and more. For the full list of prizes, look in the description below. Make the tournament legendary with BetMGM. Vegas is calling. You gonna answer? If you're not a member of the Field of 68's On3 community, make sure to go check us out. Get access to all of Jeff Goodman and Rob Dauster's written content, including coaching carousel breakdowns, info on who is and isn't entering the transfer portal, insider recruiting information from none other than Joe Tipton, X's and O's analysis of all the teams in college basketball, and access to our message board community. A 7-day trial costs you $1. The Field of 68 On3. Get the scoop.
Are you trying to follow everything happening in college basketball? It can be overwhelming. That's where the Field of 68 Daily comes into play. The Daily is your go-to source for recruiting news, game analysis, portal updates, and much, much more. For just $50 a year, you get access to the same information that your favorite coaching staff is subscribed to. Quality content can be hard to find in the college basketball space. The Daily is here to help. Make sure you subscribe today.
Oh, welcome back here at Liberty Arena. I feel like I probably should explain to the people that are watching this at home. We are at Liberty Arena in Lynchburg because the Field of 68 tip-off is happening here. We do an event every year involving Liberty, Charleston, and FAU where they all play each other for 3 straight days. We broadcasted the game for the people that didn't see it during a college football Saturday. Totally understandable. A lot going on today. Liberty hosting the event this year. Last year was Charleston. The year before was Florida Atlantic. Tonight, Florida Atlantic beat Charleston by, I don't even know what the final score was.
17 points.
It felt like 683. 17. It was 94-77. Thank you to producer Dagan. We will talk about that in the third block here tonight. We're going to go to the Garden. We're going to go to New York City. We're going to go to Alabama 103, St. John's 96. And I will say that overreacting to something early on in the season, I think, is probably not the smartest thing to do.
But you're going to do it coming up.
I'm going to do
it right now.
But not about St. John's.
No, I know. You're going to do it about Alabama.
About Alabama, because if their guards are this good, if Aiden Holloway is 25 points on the road, good. If LeBaron Filan is 25 points at St. John's, good. If those two, plus Latrell Wrightsell is healthy,
they can shoot the shit out of it, by the way.
Look out. They shoot it. LeBaron finally gets wherever he wants. I don't know.
How electric was he?
I don't know how the finishes that he makes around the basket. I don't know how he does it. Amari Allen has been a really nice
Houston
addition and a really good he really has emerged here. I have questions about them defensively, but if you're going to be able to put up 100 points on a Rick Pitino St. John's team, I don't think it matters.
At the Garden. Think about that. I mean, what they did today, it's funny. I remember preseason, we did our bold takes thing, and I said, my bold take is that the Auburn, Alabama, they're both going to fall off. And I said, I have confidence one of the two will. I don't know which one, but I have confidence one of the two will. I'm not sold on Alabama's front line, but Taylor Bolt-Bowen was terrific today. And he had to be, because you're going up against, wouldn't you say that's one of the best front lines in America? What St. John's brings to the table with Zuby and Hopkins and Dylan Mitchell?
Yes.
One of the better?
Yes, one of the best. Zuby Ejiofor is an All-American, and Bryce Hopkins, if he ever gets back to his normal self, will be an All-American. That's as good as it gets. I don't think that that's the kind of front court that is necessarily going to give Alabama the most issues, but Aiden Sherrill was...
Yeah, you need one of Bolt-Bowen or Aiden Sherrill to show up, and do what Bolt-Bowen did tonight.
Well, look, Bolt-Bowen 17-9, made a couple of huge threes late, had a couple big offensive rebounds, kid. And Amari Allen. I don't think that it's one of those two. I think it's one of Aiden Sherrill or Noah Williamson.
But it's not going to be Noah Williamson. It's got to be Aiden Sherrill then.
I don't think that you need them to be great, but you need those guys to be good for finishing points around the bucket, right? Not getting abused in the post, being able to get defensive rebounds,
and staying out of foul trouble.
Staying out of foul trouble.
Sherrill did not do that today.
Combined, they played 26 minutes and got a single defensive rebound.
That's what I'm saying.
That's going to be
they won. They didn't get killed in the glass, despite the fact that their 5 men did not.
You know what I will say? You know what I will say is that Alabama's always been a really good rebounding team, especially getting to the offensive glass. Nate Oates'
because of the threes, the long rebounds.
Yeah, the long rebounds, the fact that there's so much space, and their guards just kind of go flying in and go get them.
Well, they're tough guards. They're just small guards a lot of times.
Yeah, look, we can. I want to celebrate the good.
I'm with you. No. I think Alabama surprised me today in a big way. I didn't think they were going to go in, and I thought they might get not embarrassed.
No, you said that last night.
But I really was scared. Yeah, I didn't know Wrightsell in his first game back how he'd be, right? But he came out and he can make shots. And Filan was the one that, honestly, what he can do, again, getting into the seams and being able to attract so much attention, and then the ability to kick it out to those guys, and you have shooters everywhere. Those guards.
It wasn't. I expected this. Expected this from Filan. I thought.
I didn't expect that, because now it's just he let him loose. We didn't see this last year. You know why? You know why?
Because Mark Sears.
Correct. So you never had Filan where he was playing with this type.
But
the ball wasn't in his hands as much as it is now.
We saw flashes of it last year.
Sure. Early in the season, especially.
He entered the draft, and he would have been, if not a first-round pick, he would have been a top 40 pick. Like, he was going to get a guaranteed
25
contract.
to 40, probably.
Right now, he is a guy that is good enough to be
he made the right decision.
Be on an NBA roster somewhere. But coming back to school, getting the ball more often, being the focal point of their offense, you kind of knew, at least I expected this to be what we saw from Filan. So seeing him go for 25 at St. John's, maybe I would have said, like, I don't think he would have, I don't know about 25, but I'm not surprised by him being awesome. I thought he was going to be an All-American. Aiden Holloway, the 21-4. Latrell Wrightsell coming back and getting you 17 and making those shots, 4 steals. He was guarding. He was staying in front of those St. John's guards. Like that to me is the headline of this game. Absolutely. Those two plus the Baron Filan. We had a lot of conversations about who the best backcourt in America is. I don't think Alabama ever came up in those conversations. Really? And there's a very real case after seeing this that they have to be in that conversation.
They have 5, and oh, by the way, a kid that they paid a good amount of money to in their NIL, Jalil Bethea, is out for probably, the next 6 weeks, and it's not going to impact them one bit. He's probably 6th on the depth chart.
It might, honestly, Jeff.
How might it?
Help him.
No, it will. It will, because he wasn't going to play that much anyway.
He wasn't going to play, and when he does play, he's a guy that needs shots. And I don't know if you want someone that needs shots with the way that because the way that it's working right now is you got Filan that can kind of get to the rim and spray it out, right? You got Aiden Holloway who's a little bit better in that ISO situation where he's trying to get to the step back 3. You have Latrell Wrightsell whose strength is to kind of stand in the corner, make threes, and he can attack a closeout when needed. All 3 of those guys can guard. Aiden Holloway is a lot better defensively than I remember him. Like, he put on some weight. He got in the weight room. He must have been lifting with the Alabama football team or something.
The key still is going to be, can they guard? Let's face it, like putting up 103, unbelievable against a Rick Pitino coach team, like you said. But ultimately, we know they can score, Rob. That's not the surprise. The surprise is they did it at the Garden against St. John's.
But here's what gives me confidence in that, is that I thought that they did well enough defensively, and they put up 103 against the St. John's team and shot 11 for 35 from 3. Normally, when you think about Alabama putting up offensive numbers like this, it's because they go absolutely nuclear from beyond the arc, and that's not what happened tonight.
No, but they still gave up 96 points is what I'm saying. That's my worry. My worry is, I know what you're saying. Well, they didn't shoot it so well, but again, and Nate Oates, I think, would be the first to say this, they're not winning a title unless their defense gets a lot better.
Yes, but they're not going to play St. John's every single night. That's the thing. Like, St. John's is good.
Of course they're good.
Nothing about this performance makes me think any less of St. John's.
I think somebody had St. John's as a preseason number 1 team in the country.
Yeah, you know who it was?
No, I have no idea, but I think somebody did.
Gary Parrish had him as the preseason number 1 team in the country, and that has been something that UConn fans have been reminding him about over and over and over and over and over again. Today. Yes. Wow. So shout out to GP.
You can't get it right all the time. It's just
Parrish.
Whatever. It is what it is.
Oh, look, trust me, I get it, man. Some of us might have had Caleb Wilson as the number 5 freshman.
I moved him up already.
Yeah, good. I do want to talk a little big picture stuff on St. John's. I thought Bryce Hopkins looked terrific in the first half and wore down a little bit in the second half.
He hasn't played in 2 years, really.
The fact that St. John's, I think there were stretches in the second half where it was evident they didn't have someone to make life easy for somebody else. There's going to be...
Well, Dylan Darling didn't play either.
Yeah, and even if Dylan Darling plays, you're asking a guy to make a step up from Idaho State.
But he's their best facilitator.
Which is like it's still a big step up.
Of course.
Dude, they survived on making a lot of tough shots today. And that might be something that works for them because like Ian Jackson is a tough shot maker and Bryce Hopkins is a tough shot maker and Zubi Ejiofor is as good as anybody in the country at when you miss a tough shot, going and getting that rebound and finishing in the paint. I thought Ruben Prey stepping in and knocking down a couple threes was really, really big for them because that's going to create a little bit of spacing. And again, pull a big guy away from the basket, those guards get to the rim, they can finish. It's a little bit easier for them to operate. So I'm not super concerned about it. To me, it is a red flag that St. John's can give up 103 points because I don't think that this team is going to end up being good enough offensively to be able to survive that. I think that there's still going to have to be a defense-first team.
When you play Dylan Mitchell, Bryce Hopkins, and Zuby together on the front line, as athletic as Dylan is, it's not easy to guard those smaller wings, right? That's number one. I would say the other part of it is, for me, as much as you're saying it's a defense, that'll get better. It's Alabama. It's still Alabama. That's a really hard matchup. For me, still, I just every team we look at has their warts in the top right tier. Purdue, the matchup against athleticism. Alabama, can they guard? Go through it, right? UConn, I don't know what it is yet, but probably don't have it yet after they beat UMass Lowell by 200 points. But we'll find out. We'll find out next week.
There are things that worry me about you.
Okay, so they have their warts too.
Yes.
So my take on St. John's is if your wart is a point guard and the lack of a point guard, that is very, very worrisome because I just think you're capped out at what you can do without a high-level point guard. Like some teams have two. Right? Hasn't that proven to be the most effective way to win a national title over the last 10, 12 years? Is having two guys.
Two playmakers,
right.
Yes.
St. John's doesn't have
two guys that can really initiate and make things easier for you offensively.
Is Isaiah Sellers a guy that you trust yet to? He could be maybe the second guy.
No,
but he can't be your first guy.
No,
he's a shooter.
Yeah, they have a lineup of guys whose
doesn't really
goal
fit.
Is to put the ball. I think that I feel like I'm going to be talking out of both sides of my mouth when I say this, but I feel
You've been
like
doing that a lot this show.
They fit together, right? Especially on the defensive end. But what they're missing is having one of the a guy that's a little bit of a better playmaker. Like if Ian Jackson was a guy that averaged 3 assists a game instead of 0.9 assists per game, right? If Isaiah Sellers was a guy who was not just a shooting guard, but was more of a combo. Like
sure.
It would make sense. The pieces fit.
Okay.
Those guys just are not good enough playmakers to make it work at the level that you need it to work for St. John's to be the national title kind of contender. I think that they can get to a Final Four. I'd say that they're. If I had to rank them, I'd probably have them as like a top 8 to 10 team in college basketball. If all of those, if they just had Ian Jackson was just a little better of a playmaker, or if Dylan Darling comes in and proves
Ian's
he can
a two,
connect.
a straight two.
Exactly. If they were combos instead of twos, then I would feel a little bit differently. Or if they were just a little bit better defensively.
Again, maybe Dylan Darling, with those guys around him, is good. And I was talking to Bo Outlaw earlier today, who's with the Orlando Magic, whose stepson plays for Liberty, and we're talking about Trey Jones, or Tyus Jones. I'm sorry, on the Magic. They have Jalen Suggs, they have Anthony Black, and they have Tyus Jones. And I said, I think Tyus Jones is the best point guard for that situation because they have 4 dudes around him. I think Dylan Darling might be the best point guard for that situation if he could take care of the ball and get everybody the ball where they need it, because you could have 2 guys on the wings that could really score, right? And then 2 guys up front and bring Dylan Mitchell off the bench. That might be your best way of doing it. I just think it's going to take time for Rick Pitino to figure this thing out, because I don't think the pieces fit perfectly, because I don't think they have a real point guard other than maybe Dylan Darling, who wasn't on the floor tonight.
Yep. That's where I'm at too. Has anything that happened in this game changed the way that you kind of view St. John's or Alabama?
Alabama, yes. Yes, absolutely. I told you, I wasn't 100% sold. I'm not sure Nate was 100% sold on his bigs. And I'm not sure he will be tonight. But I think he'll feel a lot better about Taylor Bowen than he did going into the game, because he just stood up in a big-time game with the bright lights, a ton of pressure, right?
And look, not just a big game, but against Bryce Hopkins and Zuby.
That's what I'm trying to say. What does that say?
Garden.
To me, you just didn't know. And look, because you haven't coached him before.
And for the people that are watching from home, that are thinking about St. John's the way that you think about St. John's from probably the last 25 years, what is happening in Madison Square Garden right now is something
that's you saw nice. The flies.
What is happening in Madison Square Garden right now when St. John's plays is one of the most electric home court atmospheres that you can find.
Insane.
They put 19,000 people in there. It is loud. It is rocking. I don't know if you guys know anything about New Yorkers, but they have a tendency to be a little bit crude, Goodman. And that comes out in these arenas and in these venues. And that is one of the most difficult places to play college basketball right now. Point blank period is Madison Square Garden when St. John's is there. And Taylor Bowen went in there, put up 17 and 9, made big shots down the stretch against Zuby Ejiofor and Bryce Hopkins, both of whom are All-American caliber talents. That is really not impressive. Something that should be overlooked or minimized at all. Shout out to him, man. He's an awesome kid. We talked to him. He came when he was at Florida State last year. He came and hung out with us.
I've seen him at Brewster Academy, and finally, and again, Alabama needs him. They need consistency out of him and or Aiden Sherrill. Mm-hmm. And I hope this fly does to you for the rest of this show.
Annoying me.
What that fly did to me in my house in Charleston. Go get him. Go get him.
I will say I had Alabama probably around. I think I had them fifth. Fourth. I had them fourth in the ACC in the SEC in the preseason.
I moved him up already, right? Would have got him now.
I don't think that there's really all that much difference between the top four in the SEC, but it's very hard for me to look at them and not say they might be the best team, because Florida looked like what we kind of expected, right? Kentucky is banged up, and until they kind of prove themselves at that level and get Quayton's back, I think right now you got to say Alabama might be the best team in the SEC. Is that a crazy thing to say? Is that a crazy take to have this early?
No, they just beat St. John's at the Garden. I think you have to say it right now. They've earned it. They've had the biggest win so far this season, Alabama Crimson Tide. Most impressive win.
Yep. I agree.
What do you got? Is that it?
I think that might
Aren't you the host?
That might be it for the segment.
Aren't you supposed to then segue into something else?
I'm just. Or
are you that rattled by the fly?
I'm just plotting my attack on this fly. When I can get him. When we come back, we got to talk about Neo Abdalis, the point guard, point forward,
point guard,
point center, whatever the hell he wants to be at Virginia Tech, with 33 points, 6 boards, 6 assists, and an overtime win over Providence in what was a de facto road game at Mohegan Sun. That's next. As you know by now, we have teamed up with BetMGM again this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we will have special offers for Field of 68 fans, including same-game parlays, best-in-class live betting, and daily odds boost. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app. You sign up using bonus code FIELD. You deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Make this college basketball season one for the history books. Make it legendary. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. If you're not a member of the Field of 68's On3 community, make sure to go check us out. Get access to all of Jeff Goodman and Rob Dauster's written content, including coaching carousel breakdowns, info on who is and isn't entering the transfer portal, insider recruiting information from none other than Joe Tipton, X's and O's analysis of all the teams in college basketball, and access to our message board community. A 7-day trial costs you $1. The Field of 68 on 3. Get the scoop. Welcome back to the Field of 68 After Dark, live from Lynchburg, Virginia, here at Liberty Arena, where we watched, oddly enough, Florida Atlantic beat Charleston in front of a rousing crowd of about 27 people. Tomorrow will be a lot more fun. We got FAU playing Liberty in a game between two teams that have put up more than 90 points in this building against Charleston in the last 2 days. Fun game, really good guards. Really looking forward to that. We'll get to it in a second because we got to start, Goodman, with another freshman that has thrust his name into the conversation of is he a top 5 freshman in America? Is he the top freshman in America? Neo Avdalis. 33 points, 5 boards, 6 assists, 5 for 8 from 3. He had 17 in about the first 10 minutes. Virginia Tech puts up 107 on Providence in overtime. Really, really impressive win for the Hokies. And I will say that if we are living in an era where Mike Young is relevant and on a national platform and accessible for shows like this, it is a better world to live in because Mike Young is one of one when it comes to college basketball. Glad to see he's got a winning team, and glad to see he's got, what did he call him, the most talented player that he's ever coached?
Yeah, that's what he told me in the preseason. He said, this kid is special, 6'9", point guard from Greece, 19 years old, who's an elite passer, sees everything. He compared him to Igor, the kid from BYU last year. Yeah, Demon. And, he came out, and I had a buddy of mine who's at the game today at Mohegan Sun, and he kept texting me how special this kid is. And not a lot of people knew about him. But, again, terrific passer, more of a point guard, even at 6'9", so he's got that size, but a better shooter than Demon was or is. And I think that's going to be the big difference. So, this is a team that we know if you give Mike Young enough talent, right, he's going to win enough games. I mean, there's a reason they didn't have the resources the last year or two. And the best part of Mike Young is he makes no excuses. ACC media, he's like, you know what? It's on me. It's on me. I haven't done a good enough job. But I think he also knew, like, hey, I got this dude coming in, and I'm gonna run my entire offense around him. This was a huge win for Virginia Tech, for the ACC, against a team that we think in the Big East could finish third, the Providence Friars.
Yeah, and Providence is good.
Like
that,
they
let's
are.
get that out.
They had $9 million of NIL.
I think anybody that watched that game will tell you that those are two tournament teams that we watched. Right, I have Jason Edwards went nuts. He had 28. Jalen Sellers had 26. When you get an overtime loss like that, it's very hard to say anything other than, yeah, you know what, one team had to lose. That's the way the games work. To your point on this being a very big win for the ACC. We saw North Carolina get a huge win against Kansas the other night, right? We saw Duke get a big win against Texas. Maybe not as big, but that's still a Texas team in the SEC where there's a real chance that it ends up being a quad one. All you got to be is top 50 on a neutral to be a quad one. That could end up being a quad one win. And we're already off to a better start for that conference than we've been in a long time. And if we're in a year where Duke is going to be as good as we think, and North Carolina is as good as they looked last night, and NC State is actually good and relevant, and Virginia Tech is winning some games, and we know what Louisville's going to end up being, and Miami looks like they might actually be good enough to make a tournament. And there's talent in Syracuse. Like the programs that matter.
Syracuse hasn't played anybody, but they've blown out both teams.
The teams that matter in the ACC right now are good, and they are winning games. And if we can get, you know what I would love? I would love to see Duke, Carolina, and NC State all be in and around the top 10 this season, because that's going to make for such an electric atmosphere down there. There's very few places in the country that care about college hoops the way that Carolina does. So this is a big win for the ACC. But let's flip it. St. John's lost at home. Providence lost in front of probably a 90% Providence crowd at Mohegan Sun.
True.
Is this a little concerning for the
No,
Big
I don't
East?
think so. I don't think so. Again, I think Virginia Tech's going to be a tournament team, so this isn't going to be one that, the committee looks at. As long as Providence finishes third or fourth in the Big, I think the Big East will get at least 4 in. So I think all you got to do if you're Providence is make sure you finish third or fourth. And I believe, again, I can't remember exactly. I'd have to pull it up. Their non-conference schedule, if you want to pull up Providence's non-conference schedule.
They play a lot of good teams.
I don't know. I don't think it was overpowering. I think there were a couple in there. But I don't think it was overpowering. I think they'll get enough wins in the non-conference. Probably need a resume win or two, only because we don't know how good the Big East is going to be. So if you don't beat UConn or St. John's, how many other resume wins are there going to be? They're going to need something in that non-conference.
They have Colorado,
that's
Penn State.
Terrible.
And then they play, I believe it's in the Battle for Atlantis against Wisconsin in their first game.
So that's going to be a big one for them. That'll be a big one.
They're playing in the one out in San Diego, the event out in San Diego.
Okay.
But that's one that they got to get because Wisconsin's going to be a big.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying is okay, you missed on an opportunity here. But I think Providence will be all right. The biggest thing for Kim English and the Friars is just stay healthy, right? This isn't a bad loss. I'm telling you, Virginia Tech's going to be
I don't think it's a bad loss. I think
Virginia Tech is going to be a tournament team.
I think it's more missed opportunity.
I'm not going to say, sit here and look in the camera and go and say, to Randolph Childress and everybody, hey, the ACC is back, but it's better. It's much better.
I think the ACC is back.
I thought
the ACC. I do think the ACC is back. I meant more missed opportunities, right? Because my worry with the big,
this could have been a nice win for them.
Yeah, it would have been a really nice win, and I think, and they were up late and had a chance to be able to. Did
you shower today?
To win.
I mean, this fly is all over.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
No, it's not everywhere. It's just all over you.
So my concern with the Big East is kind of similar to what we saw with the ACC the last couple of years, in that I think the bottom 3 teams
aren't great.
There's a real chance that,
and the middle's not great either.
There's a real chance that Xavier and Seton Hall
down
are real down, and I think DePaul is going to be a little bit better, but it's still DePaul, right?
And Butler, okay.
Butler's got
it may be a little better, but they're not
still, you gotta prove it to us, right? And Villanova looked pretty good against BYU, and if that ends up being where they get to the point where they're close to being a tournament team, that would be big. Same thing with Georgetown, same thing with Providence, but same thing with Marquette. But there's a lot of these teams where they got to prove it to us that they can actually do it and get it done. So now it's going after you.
It's not. Fly. I showered.
Let's fly.
I feel good about it. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about this game that we have tomorrow night. Florida Atlantic, 94-77 beat Charleston tonight. Last night, Liberty, 90-75 beat Charleston. Both teams have 2 really good guards. Both teams have shooters around the perimeter. The one big difference is Liberty plays with a 6'6" center and a 6'4" 4-man in J.J. Harper.
Yeah.
And we're going to see 6'11" Devin Williams and 6'11" Xander Pintolin.
Do you think Zach Cleveland is scared? Do you think he's intimidated for a second?
Yes.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
I think he's quaking in his boots.
No, you definitely don't. Zach, if you're watching, we know you're going to be ready to up to the task here. I'm not going against Liberty, man. I'm not. These dudes have played together for a while. They're fun. If you haven't seen this Liberty team, I'm telling you, I know it's a football Sunday. I get it. I'm telling you, you're gonna want to watch Colin Porter, Caden Matheny. That backcourt is so much fun because, again, I'm not sure. Can you find me 5 better shooters in the country than Caden Matheny?
Probably not. I mean, he's up there.
I mean, how much fun?
He's up there.
It's crazy.
The
Porter.
The key is going to end up being
on the glass. And can they get back in transition too?
No, I think the key. I think the key is going to end up being how Florida Atlantic can defend all of those DHOs and all of that complicated stuff that Liberty runs. Because we saw with Charleston, they had They had a week to prepare for this. And, right, a week? 5 days to prepare for it? When they played, Charleston played on Monday. Yeah, so they had 5 days to prepare for Liberty and what they were going to do offensively. And they struggled with the idea.
They're playing freshmen. I mean, I guess FAU's going to play some young guys,
They still struggled with it. And FAU is coming off of a game where they played Charleston tonight, and they got to come back tomorrow and get prepare for a style of play that you don't really see anywhere else. Like, there's not very many teams in the country that use their 5-man to functionally be their point guard, effectively be their point guard, which is what Zach Cleveland does. There's not a lot of teams in the country that play legitimate 5-out with 4 guys that can shoot the way that Liberty does. The way that you defend by not guarding Zach Cleveland on the perimeter and going over every single one of those DHOs and really overemphasizing it is not something that is easy to implement and to put in the first time that you kind of see it. So that's where I think you're going to have a little bit of trouble if you're FAU. Can you stop what they do offensively?
I don't think so. I think they're going to get theirs because they run their stuff. They can play faster if they want to and run. They can play in the half court. They can absolutely just kind of execute you to death. And I think they're going to do that.
That's what executing is.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to do. They're gonna execute you to death.
That's what
just like this fly is going to do to you.
Look, we're waiting for a guest to be joining us right now, and I don't know if I can take it. I don't know if I can take it. We might just have to go.
It was like me. I mean, I don't know what's up. I don't think either one of us over the last 4 years of doing shows have ever gotten hit like we've gotten hit so far by the fly.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's hit a couple of things real quick. Duke won big tonight. Houston, 65. What are you looking at? Houston 65, Towson 48.
Yeah, I mean,
it was close.
Towson played him close.
Yeah,
they played him close for a while.
Well, we had this conversation about Purdue last night, where Purdue struggled with the smaller opponent at home.
Yeah.
Are you worried at all about Houston? Is this something that we should?
Not yet. No, I think it's just going to take some time for Houston because they got 3 young guys playing pivotal roles that are trying to kind of pick up the culture as much as anything else. So, I don't worry about Houston. Again, I think all these top teams have their warts. I just don't think we're going to see a dominant team. I mean, again, we'll see what UConn does next week, right? I mean, they're going to get BYU in Boston, and then a couple days later, Arizona in stores.
My guess is they
have home court advantage in both.
Yeah, they probably split.
Who beats them? By the way,
I don't know.
By the way, we had Atope here today, and he was here to see Devin Williams from FAU, head of Compton Magic. He also coached Koa Pete. And he goes, I don't know if you know, but Koa Pete, as an 8th grader, played 17 and under with us. He goes, like, this kid has just done it for so long. He said because he's done it for so long, I think you guys just kind of took it for granted and kind of forgot about Koa Pete, how good he is.
Well, it's also when you play on the Adidas circuit, we go to the EYBL and we go see AJ DeBonta play.
And there's better competition, too, who they're playing against sometimes.
Yeah, but it's very easy when you play on the EYBL the Pete Sham just gets so much attention that I think it's very easy to overlook that. All right, let's get to Toast of the Night here.
Okay.
Goodman, you start.
Who am I going to toast to tonight? I think I will toast to... I'm going to toast to Rowan Brumbaugh from Tulane because he had 33 points, and he was 19 for 19 from the line. And you've given me a lot of crap over the years because years ago I said Rowan was the top 100 player, and he's had a tough go. Texas, Georgetown, and now he's found a home at Tulane. He's the American Athletic Conference preseason player of the year, if you didn't know that. And Rowan had a great game. So that's one. I'm going to give one more. I'm going to give another one to Mike Young. And I wish we could drink here in Liberty because we know Mike Young loves like a Coors Light as much as anybody.
I can promise you, Mike Young
is drinking right now. He's drinking right now, absolutely.
Rowan, I just want to let you know I had no I couldn't stop that. I hope it doesn't violate the restraining order that you filed against Goodman, but please understand that was not anything that I could do. I apologize for that profusely from everyone here at the Field of 68. My toast of the night is going to Rink Mast. Coming back from it was an ACL, right? He tore his ACL. I believe he had a season, I think it was an ACL, season-ending injury for Nebraska. They played FIU tonight, but he had 18 points, 12 boards, and 10 assists. It's always nice when you're coming off an injury to post a cool triple-double. Tomorrow night, 6 o'clock here, Liberty, FAU. You can find that on the Field of 68 YouTube channel. Show to follow. Somewhere in the 9:30 region is probably about when we are going to be starting.
Unless Dagan can really move quick. And
Dagan doesn't move quick anymore. He's getting a little bit older these days. For Dagan Hughes, for Jeff Goodman, for everybody here at Liberty Arena.
For that
courtside.
For that fly, baby, because that fly was awesome.
Yeah,
go get him.
For the fly. This has been the Field of 68 After Dark.